Grand Festival. So let's take you through the grid for Minimax Race 1 of the meeting, Heat 1, Groups A and B. Here is your starting grid. On pole position, it'll be Nikita Lubimov from Estonia. Alongside will be the 191 of Albert Friend from the UK. Felipe Perez and Vince van der Hallen will round out row 2. Jakub Kubera and Michal Zayak will be on row 3. Rasmus Koskinen and Kai Clark complete row 4, with an all-Belgian row 5 thereby completing the top 10. It's Victor Reutz and Alexander Van Meeuwen. Natan Rebzinski and Daniel Minto will be on row 6. Row 7, T. Erin Undologan from Turkey and Lieke van Berkel from the Netherlands. Blair Smith and Luca Holmes-Balak will be on row 8. Hasnain Khan and Unto Olavi Lakonen from Finland will round out the top 18. Completing the top 20, it's Leo Livings and Boris Maligranda. Christian Sejersen, Paulin van Breet, AJ Bergraf, Ivan Chernega, James van der Poel and Joris Bluxner round out the 26-strong grid. So all of the Minimax, Micromax, Junior Rotax races over the course of the day will be 7 minutes plus an additional lap in duration. For all other classes, seniors, DD2 and DD2 Masters, they will take place over a duration of 10 minutes plus an additional lap. Now, the sunshine is starting to beat down on the circuit just round by the Europalan turn 6 and also a little bit further down the circuit, maybe towards turns 10 and 11. So there will be track evolution over the course of today's racing. But as always, we have had mixed weather conditions here at the Home of Champions and in the surrounding area. So will that play a part? Well, man upstairs will have to dictate on that one. So the red lights are ignited on the starting gantry ahead of 7 minutes plus an additional lap of racing here at the Home of Champions to kickstart the 2023 Rotax Max Challenge Grand Festival and Golden Trophy off in earnest. So the first set of drivers make their way past the point of no return. The red line coming out of turn 11 on this 1,360-metre 12-turn circuit. So the drivers make their way out of the final corner. Into the tram lines we go. Revs rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? Lights are out first time. Good start on the front row by Lubimov. Albert Friend losing at least 1 or 2 positions as they make their way through into turn 2 at the first time. There has been a little bit of a drama a bit further back, but around the outside, there was a Sodi kart going around the outside at turn 4. That might have been Jakub Kubera from the Czech Republic as they make their way through into turn 5. Kubera has got the lead. Friend in now trying to go for second place side by side with Nikita Lubimov down the Europalan. 2-3 wide at points into turn 7 at the chicane. Albert Friend negotiates his way up the inside and gets through for second position on Lubimov. Some drivers taking unconventional racing lines, but with wet surface on the track here at Karting Genk, it's not going to be easy, but sometimes if you can sweep round towards the outside, you get the traction coming out of the corner when you point it straight and hit the throttle. Down into turn 10 for the first time. Everyone treading on eggshells at the minute. As now they come through out of turn number 11, and Albert Friend has got a run of speed up the inside of Jakub Kubera through turn 12. Kubera swings a little bit wide, Friend up the inside, a little bit of a touch between the pair, but Albert Friend now takes the lead and leads the field over the line to start lap number 2. Jakub Kubera has Nikita Lubimov up the inside and through, but Kubera trying to keep it pinned around the outside of turn 2. That's easier said than done. Kai Clark up into 4th ahead of Felipe Perez. Vince van der Hallen, Rasmus Koskinen and Alexander Van Meeuwen now round out the top 8 positions. So a 4-kart squabble from 4th backwards being led by Kai Clark. And Felipe Perez neatly using the curbing through at turn 6 to get the slingshot on Kai Clark. And a little change of steering adjustment there for the 107 from the Netherlands. Nearly caught the back axle around. He managed to catch it in time. A lot of steering correction at this point as we are 1 3/4 minutes of the way through the opening heat out of 21 today. Felipe Reyes still doing his utmost to keep a hold of that position, whereas Kai Clark trying to battle away in his own right with the likes of the 169 of Finland's Rasmus Koskinen, running with the Force Racing Finland team. Now as we come round to complete lap number 2, Albert Friend leads, but he looks over his right shoulder. Nikita Lyubimov is closing in on the slipstream. Down into turns 1 and 2, they were very, very closely packed. So Albert Friend continues to lead. Lyubimov looks to get the run of momentum coming out of turn 3. But at that moment, as we see some of the drivers, such as Lars Lambers, looking on. Boris Verhaag in there as well, the 133. So the drivers making their way back over to the Europlan again. And Albert Friend continues to lead. Lyubimov, Kubera, Felipe Reyes has now got the 105 of Vince van der Halen from Belgium not too far behind. So that's the battle for P4. Now make their way through in towards turn number 9 once again. So it's not going to be easy for these drivers over the next few moments. Albert Friend continues to lead the way. A little bit further back. Good battle happening between Rasmus Koskinen and Alexander Van Meeuwen. Looks to be for 7th position. Van Meeuwen tries to get the switch back through turn 12. Might get the inside curbing, and he does. And Koskinen has to battle away with the likes of Michael Zajak and Victor Roy. So there's Van Meeuwen up the inside. That is on the 106 of Kai Clark, who is starting to slightly drop down the order, a little just behind them. There is a good battle happening between a couple of the drivers. I think Unto Olavi Lakonen is moving up the order quite swiftly. It's nip and tuck between the two leaders at the minute. So Albert Friend continues to lead as he applied the brakes. The back end stepped out to the right-hand side, going into turn 7 ever so slightly. Through turn number 8, you know, a little bit of a use there of the curbing via the right front wheel of the 191 Strawberry Racing driver, who's still keeping Nikita Lyubimov at bay in this opening race out of 6 for the Minimax drivers. A total of 52 competitors in all. They make their way out of turn number 11 into turn 12. Albert Friend just trying to keep towards the apex. So is Lyubimov. Lyubimov in the wheel tracks of Albert Friend. Jakub Kubera, the 199, still keeping station in 3rd place. Felipe Reyes and Alexander Van Meeuwen round out the top 5 positions, followed by Vince van der Halen, as van der Halen gets through on the 127 into turn 2. Kai Clark battling away for what is now going to be effectively 7th position. And and Rasmus Koskinen throws it round the outside, gets through, but then goes a little bit deep into turn 6 onto the Europlan once again. So more drivers taking unusual racing lines, particularly on the fact that there's a lot of glare coming up from the water that's actually laying on the circuit. It's never easy, so of course tinted visors will be de rigueur at this particular point, especially with the fact that when it glares, it bounces up off of the tarmac and goes straight into the peripheral vision of the drivers coming through the circuit. Nikita Lyubimov keeping to within about 0.2 of a second of Albert Friend in terms of the race lead at the moment. And again, Lyubimov looks for the inside line, and Albert Friend keeps it pinned round the outside whilst hitting the throttle right down to the floor, and keeps the 119 from Estonia at bay. The Czech Republic represented by Jakub Kubera. A little bit of a misstep there by Nikita Lyubimov going through into turn 6 as they head onto the Europlan again. Felipe Reyes a little bit of in no man's land at the minute. Quite a gap between Jakob Kubera and the Dutchman, and then also in fifth position still looks to be Alexander Van Meeuwen from Belgium in the 127. So they are still continuing to circulate around the track here at Karting Genk. Albert Friend just doing everything he needs to do, just keep it on the racing line, which is effectively his right of way. Last lap board is out, and Albert Friend is now making his way around this circuit. Nikita Lyubimov has been there or thereabouts, and Jakub Kubera has kept the pair of them very, very honest indeed. Felipe Reyes in fourth still. Alexander Van Meeuwen holding off the advances of Vince van der Halen in the 105 for that fourth place as they come down the Europelaan for what will be the final time in this race. Lyubimov looks to get a bit of slipstream going down into the turn 7 chicane for the final time off of the Europelaan, and Jakub Kubera is also slightly closing under braking whilst they're using the curb. The curbs are still quite slippery here at Genk as well. And what that basically means is if you turn it in, you use the curbing to rotate. That can also cause a little bit of problems with traction at the back end. But they're coming through turn 10 for what is going to be the final time. Now into the left at turn 11. And it could be a run to the line here in the first of 6 mini-max heats here at the home of champions. But Albert Friend neatly tucks it in through the final corner, puts the pedal to the metal, and the checkered flag will wave. Race 1 of the meeting goes to Albert Friend from the United Kingdom. Nikita Lyubimov, Jakub Kubera, Felipe Reyes, and Alexander Van Meeuwen ran out the top 5. Vince van der Halen and Rasmus Koskinen look to have completed the top 7 in that race. So the drivers now will make their way in towards Parc Fermé. So after every single session, the karts will be scrutinized, the drivers and the karts will be weighed, but Albert Friend takes the opening victory out of the 6 mini-max heats that we will have here today for the 2023 Rotax Max Challenge Grand Festival. So a pretty sterling job by the young Brit. And Nikita Lyubimov keeping Albert Friend very, very honest indeed. So a good run there. Of course, we've got another 5 heats to go. So Albert Friend provisionally picks up the first victory of the day out of 21 heats that we'll have over the course of the race day. There they are, into the slowdown area, into Parc Fermé, avoiding the rumble strips as best they can. And this is one of the sites that is quite usual in karting, that the drivers will be weighed, kart, driver and all. So there we go, there's your results. Albert Friend takes the win by 2.5 tenths of a second ahead of Nikita Lyubimov, Jakub Kubera, Felipe Reyes, Alexander Van Meeuwen, Vince van der Halen, Rasmus Koskinen, Michael Zayak, Kai Clark, Victor Reutz. Luke Holmes-Black rounds out the top 11 ahead of Hasnain Khan, Christian Sayerson, Nathan Rivzinski, Daniel Minto, T.R. Dogan from Turkey, Lieke van Berkel, Boris Maligranda, Unto Olavi Lakonen from Finland, and Blair Smith from the UK round out the top 20. AJ Berggraaf, Leo Livings, Pauline van Preet, Juris Bluxner, James van der Poel, and Ivan Chernega round out the 26 strong, who finished within 25.6 seconds of each other, all completing every single one of the 7 laps of racing. So, at long last, the wait was finally over, and the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Festival would get underway in earnest here at the home of champions Karting Genk. The 3-minute board signalling the mechanics to clear the grid, it was time for the drivers to compose themselves and get themselves steeled and ready for the first bit of racing action over the course of the 6 heats that will take place over today. And again, just to give you a scale of the circuit, a wonderful drone shot from above the 1,360 metre circuit here at Karting Genk. It's quite a fearsome circuit. I've driven it myself back in 2022, but when the revs went up and the lights went out, Nikita Lyubimov managed to get a really, really good start over everybody else. Albert Friend was on the cusp of losing a couple of positions. First of all to Felipe Reyes and the likes of Jakub Kubera. We had a drama in the mid-pack with the 147 of Ivan Chernega at turn 6, running on the Paralin chassis but managing to spin the rear wheels up, managing to get the kart back onto the circuit, pointing in the right direction. Jakub Kubera would then battle for the lead with Albert Friend. Little bit of a tyre touch between the pair, but no harm, no foul, as Albert Friend would take the lead. Then battles would start really rearing themselves into prominence, including this battle between Felipe Reyes, Kai Clark, Rasmus Koskinen and Vince van der Hullen, as the likes of Lars Lambers and Boris Verhaag were looking on, scoping out what was happening in the first race. So that's good sense by the drivers to do that. Again, more action up and down the order as the 26 drivers made their way around the circuit. Albert Friend would still find that Nikita Lyubimov would be on his coattails for pretty much the majority, if not all, of the race, especially coming out of turn 3 and going into turn 4, where Lubimov's got the traction down better. But at the end of it all, the checkered flag would wave and Albert Friend picks up the first victory of the weekend.